Natural disasters have become the norm across Europe, with over 200 people being killed in various disasters in 2017, while the cost to the economy from 2016 disasters is estimated at €10 billion in damages. Earthquakes, storms, flash floods and forest fires have taken place in many EU countries, all of which have left affected countries suffering badly and in humanitarian need, and many of which required international assistance. The EU Civil Protection Mechanism is required to undergo training and competence exercises on an ongoing basis to improve the operational cooperation in civil protection assistance and to assess the capabilities of the search and rescue and medical teams and experts among different countries. Contingency plans, decision-making procedures, communications to the public and in the media during major emergencies are all tested in identifying further training needs and operational gaps. As part of this EU training programme, one of the largest medical and urban search and rescue exercises ever undertaken in the EU took place in Romania just 2 weeks ago. The exercise, called Seism 2018, is part of the EU Civil Protection Mechanism's Modulation exercise ModEX and simulates a 7.5 magnitude earthquake which struck Bucharest at 08:37 hours on Saturday the 13th of October. This exercise will mobilise over 1,000 people from different countries and involves medical teams and experts from other states participating in the mechanism. I travelled to Bucharest with camera operator James Doyle along with a small group of journalists from around Europe to record the events and to see the earthquake exercise unfold over the 4 days. In this episode of ModEX Romania, we look at the alert from the earthquake, the Romanian response and their calls to the EU's Emergency Response Coordination Centre in Brussels to activate an international call for assistance. We also look at the arrival of the first medical teams from other countries and what resources they bring. And we look at how these countries themselves are certified to respond as part of the EU Medical Corps. For the purpose of this series, EmergencyTimes is required by the EU to report on the earthquake exercise in live mode, and this exercise will be treated as a real-time disaster. It's 8:37 AM on Saturday 13th of October. A heavy earthquake measuring 7.5 has hit Bucharest, Romania. The earthquake causes widespread loss of life and damage to the capital's infrastructure and transport. Romanian authorities and search and rescue teams are responding to the earthquake, the scale of which is unknown at this time. Numerous buildings, public administrations, hospitals and various types of infrastructure are all destroyed by the earthquake. It causes huge problems on the transport and utility network. When a disaster like this strikes, every minute counts for saving lives. Immediate, coordinated and pre-planned response is essential. As part of the EU Civil Protection and Humanitarian Aid Operations, or ECHO for short, an International Emergency Response Coordination Centre is already established in Brussels. This centre has the capacity to deal with several simultaneous emergencies in different time zones around the clock. In this earthquake, with more than 3,000 deaths, over 5,000 wounded and 40,000 people left stranded or displaced, Romania's local and national response capabilities are overwhelmed. Romania's Minister of Defence declares a state of emergency and calls for international medical and rescue assistance, a call which is received in the ERCC, who are already alerted to and monitoring the situation in Bucharest. Key members of the Civil Protection Mechanism's crisis team meet in Brussels to monitor the situation in Romania. It's clear that urban search and rescue and medical teams need to be set up, as well as an evacuation aircraft to bring wounded people to safe places in Romania and other EU member states. The EU crisis team activate the call for assistance to other participating countries.
So we informed them that they have to drop down their normal program of work and to wait if we have patients for them, and this is what happened. So on Saturday towards Sunday we evacuated 12 patients to Cluj with a medical team. Yesterday, this night, we evacuated to Târgu Mureș about 15 patients, and the internal evacuation may continue. And in the center here you will see that we have with us the Ministry of Defense. All the other ministries are embedded into our center so that we can work with them on these issues.
Veniți aici, băi. Aici este o mașină.
As the scale of the earthquake begins to show, over 35,000 people are left without electricity and 45,000 without drinking water. Almost 4,000 buildings are affected, out of which 380 were completely destroyed, among them 5 hospitals in the capital. In Bucharest, the operations are centred to the downtown area of the capital as the most affected area, which has the largest number of buildings of high risk. As Romanian rescue teams, the Medical Corps and Pompali respond to the disaster and are working to save lives in affected areas, a second earthquake hits, measuring 5.8 magnitude, causing untold damage and additional loss of life, including rescuers. With 5 hospitals now destroyed by the earthquake, Romanian authorities have set up field hospitals, a local coordination centre and medical camps around Bucharest. Many countries have responded to Romania's international call for assistance, and as they travel within hours to the earthquake zone, rescue efforts to save lives and provide critical emergency care to survivors continues on the ground and from the air. A camp is set up at the National Arena in the capital, with 10,000 beds available. Another 2 camps for displaced persons are also set up in the stadiums. Each camp or rest centre will cater or accommodate for 200 people. The EU Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid and Civil Protection has also arrived in Bucharest to assess the damage, monitor rescue efforts and visit some of the medical centres, before holding a joint press conference from the Israeli field hospital.
And for us, in the European institutions, and in particular in the European Commission, this exercise, it is a great example of what we say, Europe that protects. And this medical exercise here, I think it's something very unique and unprecedented, because we saw a lot of participants across Europe, many of our member states, and of course some of our neighbors. I think through this exercise we can understand some weaknesses on the ground, and at the same time we can have a lot of lessons learned in order to increase our collaboration and our coordination in a specific and in real terms of any natural disaster.
Seven ambulances from Austria, 4 ambulances from Italy and 1 from Hungary have reached Romania. 2 medical trucks from Italy and 3 from Austria have also responded, along with a search and rescue team of 40 people from Bulgaria who brought 10 rescue vehicles. This is one of the sites where the earthquake survivors and those who have been seriously injured from the earthquake have been taken. It's a field hospital outside of Bucharest, and there's a number of field hospitals here on site. As you can see, there's also a contingent from the European Commission and the European Civil Protection groups. You also have the local authority, fire brigade, the police and the medical services as well. Inside we saw earlier the field hospitals and the emergency rooms and the treatment centres, and how the casualties are also being dealt with.
Triage area with the triage desk. Usually there are 2 nurses in charge plus 1 doctor.
This is the Italian field hospital, which involves Italy's ERES as an EMT level 2 health module. ERES, which is a non-profit association centred with the support of the Marsh region, are registered in the national list of non-profit associations of civil protection. About 250 healthcare workers from the Marsh and other regions are enrolled in the ERES. Dr. Mario Caroli is the director of the Italian field hospital.
We have more than 110. We have one stand with the triage area. Then we have 1 area for stabilization of the patient. Then we have 1 area for X-ray and laboratory. The next area is pre-operating room. We have one operating room, and then we have 2 inpatient ward with 20 beds total capacity.
Don't worry.
The Israel Defense Forces sent a large delegation of 160 active duty and reserve medical and logistical personnel who established a field hospital as well as other on-ground and airborne scenarios. This is the most distant and largest exercise the IDF Medical Corps has conducted. This unit, which has already been deployed as part of the IDF aid delegations to countries such as Nepal and Haiti, has been recognised by the World Health Organization as the first Level 3 field hospital in the world. Level 3 is the highest existing level, which enables the performance of surgical procedures in the hospitals. Some of the countries participating in this exercise may also use it as an opportunity to apply for certification to be embedded into the European Medical Corps as part of the European Emergency Response Capacity, otherwise known as Voluntary Pool, which is established under the EU Civil Protection Mechanism. The European Medical Corps was set up in the direct aftermath of the Ebola crisis in West Africa in 2014, when acute shortage of trained medical teams clearly showed how important it is to be better coordinated international response in health emergencies. Being a member of the EMC, it allows for quick deployment of teams and equipment from the EU member states to provide medical assistance and public health experience to respond to emergencies inside and outside the EU. To become part of the European Medical Corps, teams need to undergo a certification process to make sure they meet strict quality criteria. Teams are also trained to work alongside colleagues from other countries and other organisations according to international guidelines. In return, they benefit from EU financial support. In part 2, we look at the medical response on the ground and the evacuation of displaced persons from the earthquake to their home countries. We travel on the Slovakian government aircraft, and we also board the Scandinavian aircraft, which has been configured into a medical hospital for Medivac. In part 2, we bring you an insight into the Romanian Army's field hospital and their skills and expertise in these disasters.
Last night we have had 55 patients, and today till now 14 patients.
Okay, and what sort of injuries would they have suffered?
Injuries specific to the earthquake, trauma regarding of the buildings, demolished the buildings, and we have had burns.
We speak with Christios Stylianides, the European Commissioner for Humanitarian Aid, on how climate change is causing these natural disasters, and I asked the Commissioner what the European Commission is doing to prevent such disasters. Our thanks to Right Light Systems for providing coverage of this exercise. Right Light Systems are providers of portable and mobile LED lighting solutions for emergency and rescue situations. The portable K8, K9 and K10 LED work lights are all designed to work at 100% for an 8-hour shift and can be easily adjusted to last for even longer. For more on Right Light Systems, visit their website rightlight.co.uk.